Another funny story is, so after we finished, we was working on the song, he goes, man, I really want a rapper. I need a rapper on the song. So I was like, well, maybe you want like Tretch from Naughty by Nature. I said, no, I need somebody harder or something. I said, well, you want like Notorious B.I.G? He goes, yeah. What about him? So I called Puff. I'm like, I'm working with this Micheal Jackson stuff, man. You want Biggie to do a rap, man? Can you send him out here? He's like, yeah, I'm sending him now. So Biggie comes out. Me and Biggie are riding around in the car, listening to the song. He's writing the rap and smoking weed. And he's like, I just can't believe I'm sitting here with you guys, And after he says the rap to me, he's got like, a bunch of cuss words and niggas and toting guns and all this stuff is in the rap. So I'm like, oh man, I don't know if this is gonna fly with Micheal because it's got so many cuss words and you talk about gun toting and everything else and indo smoke and So I was like, I'll tell you what though, let's just do it for him. Let's go in there and lay down the rap once, just let him hear it. So he goes in, he takes the first take, he does the rap. I was like, well, let's let him hear it before we do the rest of it. So Micheal comes in and hears it, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, this is kind of embarrassed in one sense because it's got so many street words in it. Then Micheal just goes, oh my God, this is perfect. I love it. That's exactly what I wanted to say. So I was like, there it is. So to this day, as we listen to This Time Around, you hear Biggie, with all the gangster lyrics, and then Michael's just like, he just loved it to death.
You were in the studio with Biggie and Micheal Jackson doing a song together. That must have just been such a historic point in time.
And then Big keep asking me, yo man, you think I can meet Mike? And I'm like, yeah man, I'm sure he wants to meet you too. So Mike comes in the room finally and meet him. And he's just like, wow, like his life. And Biggie at that point was like 19, I think.
Micheal Jackson, you could say reached his height at Thriller, his musical height.
Yeah.
And then, then Bad was a huge record.
Yep.
Him and Quincy Jones ended up parting ways.
Yeah.
At one point. And from what I understand, from what I was told, was that at one point Micheal started kind of going to the studio by himself and producing his own records. And then when Quincy found out about that, he was like, all right, well then do you then. And that was that was pretty much the end of their relationship.
Between him and Rod, because Rod Temperton and Quincy was doing all the great stuff. And I think that when Bruce Swedien started coming to play, Bruce was Michael's engineer forever, but he used to be Quincy's engineer first. But I think Bruce had a lot to do with that separation also, because he wanted to have control more of Micheal doing his own thing. And we were sitting in the studio and Micheal says, hey, I think I want Monks on the record. So Bruce like, oh, go find us 30 Gertrude Monks. I'm like, why don't you use the Synclab? It's the same difference. Nobody can be the tail on the records. But it was, I think it was just really Bruce kind of pushing into Micheal so he could get more of his hands in Micheal stuff, really.
Okay. And Micheal started to kind of physically change at one point. He started, getting a lot more plastic surgery. There was the skin bleaching that started to occur. And, and then there was this kind of time where, people felt like he didn't want to be black, but he addressed the fact that he is black and he still surrounded himself with black people. And there was that kind of weird sort of time.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever discuss that or anything of that sort?
Not really. I mean, he was, it's pretty obvious. And this one time he showed me this, and I don't know if it's online or not, but he showed me a video, and it's him singing "I'll Be There," and he's sitting at his piano, and he's doing the day, he had his tank top on and his ponytail. And he's like in the New York loft, and he's singing "I'll Be There" at this piano. And but he keeps hearing the little Micheal sing "I'll Be There" in the background. He's like, "I'll be there." So he's looking like this, and then he keeps singing again. He looks over again, and little Micheal is standing in the doorway, right? And little Micheal comes and sits next to him. So you see the contrast of the two of them sitting together. And it says something like, "Isn't it good to be great?" I think it was like supposed to be a Pepsi commercial he never put out. But to see him sit next to himself and you sitting next to him in the room while he's showing you this, like one of the most awkward moments in a way, because you're like, it's just like, wow. And he had become, at the height of we working on him, he was like super eccentric at that point. It's like beyond the Thriller, beyond the Bad, now beyond the dangerous. Like, he was super eccentric at that point. And I just feel like I felt like he was like some kind of angel, ghost spirit or something like that. It was weird, man, because he did everything great. He could draw, he would paint, but every now and then you just see a red streak go, and then we look at each other, did you see that? Like, oh, that's Michael going by. Like, what is this guy made of, man? It's like, I feel like it's some kind of other, definitely some other spirit being is inside of him.